Thank you, everyone, for coming. I'm slightly losing my voice. It's been a week of events, brilliant events. So excuse me if I'm, losing a little bit. But anyway, look, thank you for coming. This space has been about showcasing our products, but it's also a moment for absolute kind of connection and community and some great conversations that we're going to be having this evening. And I'm delighted to intro you to our very, very brilliant panel. We have an absolute shared passion for business, female entrepreneurship, and the ever-evolving conversation around that balance of purpose and planet and profit. So firstly, Amanda. Hello.
Hi. Hello.
Amanda has spent 15 years building a culturally influential brands. She's a founding member of the global brand Therabody. She has continued her storytelling experience and is the author of Well Honestly, a Substack which explores the pillars of well-being. This has gone on to be Well Honestly Summit and also soon to be an app, which is going to be a community-driven with, I think, insights, vetted products, and very authentic connection. So can't wait for that.
Yes.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Katie Lee, founder of the very beautiful Atelier, which is just on Abbot Kinney here, has a very brilliant name of highbrow hippie. I mean, who doesn't want that in their lives? With a focus on community experience and self-care. That incredible attention to detail, her products are absolutely beautiful. Katie's also launched all her products under the same name, and her clients include people from Julia Roberts, Meghan Markle, and Gwyneth Paltrow. So, a lot of love in this room, that's nice. And last but not at all least is Tracy. So a powerhouse serial entrepreneur, recognized leader in beauty and wellness, global track record for launching brands, spotlighting innovation and nurturing talent. She's the founder of Hatch Beauty and now Goodwill Brands, investing in founder-led products. She also has the very brilliant podcast, Potential to Powerhouse. So welcome.
Thank you.
So just to kick this off, so people, planet and profit are often talked about quite separately. But tonight what we want to do is explore how they can all blend together and how when you get it right, that this can be an absolute powerful driver for your business, both in terms of profit, but absolute kind of sustainability in producing a lasting business. So we're going to get straight in. We're also going to do some questions at the end. So if you've got a burning question, you can jump in, but also we will give you some time at the end. So we'll go for 20, 30 minutes, and then there's going to be loads of time for lots of questions from you all. So to all of you really, I mean, it's very clear that everyone here has invested in their community. And Amanda, you specifically talk about authentic connection. Mm-hmm. Can you explain what that term means for you personally?
Can I give that? Okay. It's on.
Hi everyone. Hi. Thank you for coming out. This is incredible, and thank you for having us. Authentic connection. I think the brand starts there. And I think if you don't have something that people are connecting to, it's really going to fall short. An authentic connection, in the early days is like one-to-one, the people that you know, the face-to-face interaction that you can get. But as you scale and grow, that evolves. And so you're not necessarily the face or the person that they're interacting with, but then you become, for lack of a better word, the kind of gatekeeper and the arbiter of that authenticity that you built, and making sure that you're creating kind of ecosystems that feed each person, even if you're not there.
And I imagine that applies in-house as well as to your customer. It's applying, how do you keep the culture of your business as you grow?
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think no matter how big you scale, making sure that you really have that touch point with the customer and really listening to the feedback that they're giving you outside of kind of your goal of your growth, your trajectory. With Therabody in particular, that's That is actually the key to our innovation. We listen to what our customers are asking for. We listen to the questions that they ask us. We actually take polls constantly, and really thinking about, getting out of our own bubble and really looking at the people that are feeding our business. What are they actually saying to us, and how can we provide the best service for them?
Yeah, nice. So there's just like a constant communication that you're having.
Correct.
And feedback loop.
Exactly.
Yeah, great. Tracy, it's a bit of a mic drop quote. You often say your network is your net worth.
Yes.
I mean, wow, that's quite a statement. Can you share how that philosophy has kind of changed the many businesses that you've helped launch?
So I think one of the things, and I have such a reverence for Therabody as an example, when you're here to solve a problem, you have to be passionate about solving problems if you want to be an entrepreneur, right? So how many of you are entrepreneurs in the room? Okay. And how many love solving problems? Like, do you wake up in the morning and you go, and are you the person that when there's a problem, everyone's like, I'm gonna go to you and problem solve or brainstorm this with you, and then somehow that's your community. If that's the case, I feel like that's probably one of the most fundamental aspects of being an excellent entrepreneur is just your customer has problems and people will pay you to solve them. And so if you're excited about the transaction of under promising and over delivering, and the surprise and delight of opening up a product or a package or an experience or a service, you're going to be successful in my opinion. And then the ongoing continued engagement with your audience to continue to say, how do you feel about what we just delivered? So when I say your network is your net worth, people, even your friendships, the people who are referring you business are referring you because they know, like, and trust you, and they know you're going to solve their problem, and they're going to trust you to pay you to do that. And once you've done that enough times, I really don't think there's a barrier on price that you can charge. So I believe that once you continue to solve the problem, and it's literally how I funded my first company, was I just problem solved for my retailers and would bring them things that would unlock an ability for them to shine. That was it.
I mean, I think that's such an interesting concept because I always talk about that my day is just problem solving. I mean, whether you think the life, no one as an entrepreneur thinks life of an entrepreneur is glamorous or sexy, right? We all know it's just bloody hard work and it's relentless. But essentially, like, I just think I wake up every morning and have to problem solve, whatever that is. But I love your take on it, that it's problem solving for the customer. That's ultimately, you've got to keep remembering that, right? I just think it's for my team, and it is mostly for my team, but the end goal is always there, and that's the focus, isn't it, I suppose, for everyone. As an entrepreneur, we all know it takes that relentless grit, and we'll come on to a bit of that in a minute. Katie, how did you build trust with your consumer? I mean, you have scale, you have social presence, you have celebrity clients, but before you had all of those things, how do you feel that you connected with your customer? Where did that first start?
Hi, everyone. I mean, first of all, talk about having a direct touch point to your customer. I literally touch people all day long. So it's how we were able to launch our first products, because we literally took a survey on what was missing from their routine, what was missing from their lives. As far as how I was able to get this trust, I mean, I have been doing this for almost 30 years, and it took a lot of trial and error to really learn how to listen. I think it's a true skill that a lot of people take for granted. I think that, as a colorist, that's what I do day to day, from at least Wednesday to Saturday, and then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday is a whole other situation with the product line. But I spend most of my days listening to people, trying not to take on, their worries, but really figuring out, like, isn't even hair color that they're interested in right now.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time it's not. And I go from there. I think that we have the unique opportunity to really touch our customer.
Mm-hmm.
They are a wealth of information. Before I even raised $1, I made sure that our offerings were going to be something that was needed in the market and not something that was going to crowd the market. Mm-hmm. So I feel like it's our secret weapon. Mm-hmm. It's the part of the reason why I'll probably never completely give up the service aspect of our business. I think that once we lose that, we're going to lose that important touch point to the customer. I will eventually scale it back because there's only so many hours in the day, but I feel that it's our superpower. Yeah.
There's this like immediate response, isn't it, from the consumer?
Immediate. I mean, talk instant gratification when you're done with the service, and then, continuing on the service with what they need to do at home.
And you're obviously, well, you have to be, because I guess you're providing a service on Sundays and you're very strict about your time. And you talk about other days you're getting into the product side of the business. And is that how you split it? Are you literally quite sort of single-minded when you do?
I am, and Amanda will tell you, I literally work every single day. She's like, I'm not really sure how to create more hours, but I work on the products even when I'm doing the service because I'm getting information. I'm gleaning, what's new, what's next, what's necessary. There just isn't one moment wasted, even though it doesn't look like output.
Yeah. Amazing. This is a question now kind of for all of you, and it sort of leads into the other overarching point, which is around purpose. And actually, you guys have already kind of touched on this already tonight, but I think I agree that the strongest brands are those that resonate more with your kind of heart than your head. And I always talk about how we get consumers to shift from a one-time purchase customer into a lifelong fan. And I think you do that by, I don't know if you guys agree with this, but I think you do that by connecting with the heart. You buy into the brand, you don't necessarily talk about product. For example, at Asian Babe, we're very brand first. So what else can we tell you about or support you with your lifestyle? And I think that starts to make a product feel much more individual. And so we always have, whenever I see an ad go out, I'm like, but does it hit you in the heart? Like, how can I want you to cry, I want you to laugh, I want you to have an emotion and not just want to buy a product. And I think that's what really resonates. But I'm just really interested from you guys into if you feel the same way or if there's like another path that you've taken in terms of marketing.
I'll start. I mean, I think that is really, for a first-time customer, yes. But then I feel like you need to deliver results after. I think that, results and sales tell all. And there's only so much you can do as far as storytelling before you get that repeat buyer. You must actually deliver. Yeah.
That's a great point.
Yeah, I think, so I never had any money to build a business. And so I always self-funded each of my companies from the beginning. So I had to define the pain point very, very carefully to why we were going to solve their pain. And so all of the marketing and all of the kind of what I would call the before and afters, or like, here are the things that we're struggling with and here are the ways in which we can solve for it, has been, and pairing that storytelling with very authentic influencers who I wouldn't call influencers. They're like housewives and post-op patients and people who have sphere of influence in their own right, who will tell their own version of that story authentically. And that kind of communication and groundswell has been how I have built all the businesses that I have built. And it's because honestly, I had no marketing dollars. So I couldn't really imagine how to story tell it without putting, wrapping the conversation around identifying immediately what the pain or the pain point is, and then showing how this was the solution. So.
I think they touched on a lot of things that I would also say. I think one of the things that my husband and I talk about all the time, my husband is the founder and inventor of the Theragun. We always talk about relationships as BRT, building relationships with trust.
Nice.
And, you know, he's like, this is a BRT situation. So thinking about, as Katie said, you have to deliver a product and you have to deliver the goods. And for us, it's like time and time again, if you're going to buy one of our products, you know it's going to work, you know it's going to last, you know it's going to deliver what it says it's going to deliver. But outside of that, we also have to say what we're going to deliver. I think a lot of the times we get really wrapped up in the marketing and the shoots and the story, and not thinking if that is really a match for the product that we're selling. They need to be equally yoked, because the worst thing is someone gets sucked into the hype and then gets the product and gets underwhelmed, because you'll never get that customer back again. So thinking about really being intentional all around and making sure that everything that you put out is really what you're going to deliver.
And I think that's a really interesting point, because I think one thing that we always try and do in business, and I see the most successful businesses knowing what their value system is, and then letting their customer know exactly what that value system is. And if that aligns, you've instantly kind of built that trust.
Exactly.
Because you share the same values. So yeah, great, thank you. I'm going to move a little bit onto planet right now. So at Ancient Brave, I tried as much as was possible, given my very tiny budget, to bake in kind of ESG principles right from the start. We were a B Corp. We're one of the best scoring B Corps wellness products in the world.
Woo-hoo.
But you know, that took a bit of time, you know, and that's kind of one thing I really want to come on to. But also we give, not to kind of keep blowing the Ancient Brave horn, but we do 2% of our revenue every year to charitable, social, environmental causes, which means that we get to do some very, very lovely things. We've just built a maternity hospital in Uganda, and there are lots of other things we do locally with our community. And I think that's part of the joy of being a founder, when you've actually put all that hard work in and you can start to give back. So I know that you guys are all into that, and I think many brands want to give back, but I think it's actually the how you give back is actually what really matters. Katie, in October, your homeland, Jamaica, was left devastated.
I know.
It's Amanda's homeland too, by the way.
Oh, Amanda, gosh, sorry, I don't think I knew that, both of you.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, let's talk, you know, about what you did. I mean, I understand that you did some incredible things, harnessing like everyone you knew, getting a community behind it. Can you share a little more on that?
I'm not a very emotional person, but I'm a proud immigrant, and it is really integral to who I am being Jamaican. And I moved here when I was about 11, and so I have deep memories from the island, and I go back all the time, spend a lot of time. I was there this summer for my birthday. I roped Amanda into that trip as well.
And that's my rubber arm.
and Jamaicans, I have to say, like, and we can spot each other because Amanda and I met on a founders retreat, and did not really interact the entire time. And there was one answer I gave somebody at the end of the retreat that had a little bit of sass. And Amanda came up to me and said, "Are you Jamaican?"
True story.
This is a true story. And this is how we became friends.
True story.
So it is such the reason that I work so hard. And when that hurricane was bearing down, I think the trauma that came up, because I left Jamaica because of a hurricane. My family lost everything in Hurricane Gilbert, which was the largest hurricane to ever hit before Melissa of this past year. So I was fixed, you know, watching everything happen. And then when I saw the images, I could not move. And the next day had to get up and go to work and just make people feel good when I was crushed. And it was ironic because a lot, I'm here on Abbot Kinney. A lot of my customers and longtime clients are from Brentwood and the Palisade, et cetera. So I have been in triage with, making people feel better after their losses with the fires. And the one thing I do have, and, I have a great network. And yes, there are a lot of really big celebrity names, but there are also these women that have been my clients for honestly decades. And I was able to call on most of them. I called on the group of women that I met Amanda through. And within 2 weeks, we found an organization that was located in Florida that was able to take donations that we got and then get it to the island, which was a big sticking point of how do we get things down there quickly, and how do people navigate the tax system, which is, set up just for people to really stop in their tracks and not give. So we were able to get in 2 weeks, and this is still ongoing, financially over $200,000 in cash. We were able to get over $900,000 in items from the CEO of Skims is a client. She got them underwear and pajamas. The head of Mother Denim got them jeans and t-shirts and socks. And the founder of Kitsch was able to get down shampoo and conditioner. And then the founder of Evolve Together was able to help get hospital masks, etc. The founder of Figs was able to get hospital gear down there. It went on and on and on. No one said no. And we have moved on to think about long-term help because, as you know, the news cycle is here to distract us and keep us moving on very quickly. I was able to go for Christmas and the island is completely destroyed. Picture the Palisades, and then you go to another part of the island and it's like Venice, like nothing happened. But it's a big part of the island. And people who I knew who were the most elegant, self-reliant human beings, I found them on the street with nothing on their feet. So I hope you guys do not forget about Jamaica. We are doing a big initiative that will be announced in about 6 months or so. And my clients are everything. Sorry for the long-winded story, but.
Amazing. Round of applause.
And can I just point out all female-founded brands?
All female-founded brands stepped up to the plate.
So you heard it here, don't forget about Jamaica.
Yeah.
Seems wrong to move on, but
Let's keep it rolling.
keep it going. Tracy, when you look at investing in your brands, how important are their ESG credentials to you when you're looking for that investment moment? And is it now becoming essential for brands to bake in their ESG? And just to add to that, can you kind of spot a brand that is authentically doing that and one that sort of added it on for the investor moment?
I don't, you know what, I invest in founders. So I look for founders who authentically have a deep passion for who they are in the world and what they believe in. And I think that's probably the most important element or aspect. The funny thing is as much as I've done in this space for 20 years, I am not a chemist, I'm not an expert. I really rely on those who we hire to give us the expertise. Whether it's our regulatory or a leading clinician or a scientist or a doctor, I feel like it is so in my element to know how to build, scale, run a profitable business in a high velocity business. That's what I know how to do.
Yeah.
What I don't know how to do is to determine whether certain ingredients or certain certifications or certain positioning is or is not aligned But I do know if the founder is aligned, and when the founder's really passionate and has a position and a point of view and can tell that story in an authentic way, I know I have a business. So I want to be really clear what I do and don't do.
Yeah.
Because if you came to me and said, hey, take a look at the ingredient panel on this and whether this meets ESG and what the cleanliness, like certification B, like B Corp.
Yeah.
I just learned about that 5 years ago for the first time.
Still quite new, bit of a cult actually.
Yeah, so and this is why I think that the alchemy of a successful company has to include all the little parts and pieces that make up the big whole. And what I mean by that is people who are deeply passionate about formulation and who really know formula and reason for why, or the technical person or the visionary that has the gorgeous aesthetic that you have. Like, this is one of the things I recognized about your brand immediately. I know when I can turn that into a sellable, high velocity, high margin business, and I know the right channel to put it in. And I know when I want to put it on my counter and say, look how beautiful this is, because that's my passion for how I live my life. But at the end of the day, I really look for founders that have that real resonance and they know it better than I do.
Yeah.
Because I'm backing them to know it. If that makes
that makes total sense. Thank you. And Amanda, just to finish off on Planet, so Therabody did something quite amazing. It actually reduced its plastic by 85%. So that's pretty amazing achievement from them. I had a mentor once who was like, actually, when you start a business, you can be purpose-driven but commercially aware. So things sometimes just take time. And everything that you want to do for the planet, for your business, sometimes just commercially you cannot, and it just takes some time. And what I say is, I would always encourage. I am that brand founder, and I love the kind of the principles of ESG and then baking that in from the start if you can. But also, don't beat yourselves up. Like, let it trickle in as and when it can, and try and just include that in your price point, really. But I think, how can we communicate how to do better rather than perfect, which I think is something that you do really well.
Yeah, and I love that you illustrated that point. We didn't start out that way. You know what I mean? Like, it takes time. And, you know, the technology that we have now, we didn't have then. The materials and products we have now, we didn't have then. And, you know, even just in terms of our marketing, it's like we wanted to create this little case that you could carry it, and not everybody used the case. Mm-hmm. And it's like, and then that's such a waste of product and plastic and fabric for something that people aren't going to use. So I think sometimes you just have to pressure test an idea and put it in the market. Again, going back to the listening and seeing who resonates, what the customer feedback is, how people are using it. And, you know, in the early days, we did like 180 events a year. Mm-hmm. So we were seeing people real time interact with the product. And we'd be like, oh, they'd open it and like toss the thing aside. And we're like, wait, we spent how much on that? And they're not even looking at it? Okay.
Oh no, packaging will kill your soul.
Yeah. Right. You're like that comma that they didn't even read it. So again, I think I love that point. I think you need to just pressure test, and also the things that you can do, and the things that you can get to them. I think we also have to be realistic on where we're starting. Not everybody has like a lot of funder backing, like you were talking about being self-funded or bootstrapping. You know, I would not in any stretch of the imagination be like, okay, we'll put all of that money, because I know B Corp certification is very lengthy and very rigorous and very pricey. And again, I would just give yourself grace, and as you move with it.
Yeah, such a nice way to say that.
Can I add to that?
Please.
Because as you know, we're a small brand, but growing very quickly. And like right now, we're in the process of onboarding to Goop. And we knew, again, it's what's inside of the bottle. You make sure that's really good, because your packaging can evolve. And sometimes what looks like, oh, this is so eco-friendly, let's go with aluminum, if you have a plastic top on that aluminum, which is what you actually need to make that pump work, you can't recycle that anyway. So we knew that like scale wise, we needed to get into retailers and we needed to stand for something as a brand, which was clean, was efficacious, etc. So we focused on the actual formula, made sure that was excellent. And then our actual packaging is evolving as we're dealing with like bigger packaging companies and like lifetime relationships when it comes to like economics of scale with the packaging. So if any of you have a CPG company, I would really keep that in mind.
Great point, yeah. I'm going to come on to profit. I mean, some of us find it quite difficult to talk about
The only
money.
thing that's important. Only thing that matters.
She said it, she's right. I mean, drives you forward, right? Drives your company forward, you pay your bills. But I mean, Tracy, were you always comfortable talking about money? I feel like you're someone who probably is quite relaxed about it and has always kind of had the profit and the money and had those conversations quite easily. Because I think that's something that perhaps as women, I mean, I'm talking particularly as a British woman. Anyone British in here will know that we don't like to talk cash. It's kind of a bit weird, a bit rude, a bit show-offy. But it shouldn't be, right? It should be empowering. We should be able to share. And that's how we learn. I mean, not only how we spend our money, but how we get money in the first place. So yeah, I'm just really interested to hear your view.
Does anyone have the Shopify ding on your phone?
It's so important to keep the ding on.
Hello. Okay. There's a vibration to money that is momentum, and it is a beautiful exchange. Every single time I hear my ding, and now I turn it off because we do so much live streaming and so much on TikTok and whatnot, and our various live stream platforms, which if you're not live streaming, and I'm going to talk every single person into it by the end of tonight, because I think we're in a zeitgeist moment, bless you. I've never seen anything like what I see right now in my entire career, like I've seen in the last 2 years. And I can go on about what that means, and I'm a 20-year veteran of QVC, and I do a very large business on QVC today. So I love QVC, but the roots of money and the exchange of that energy, I think has a mojo to it that makes it really important, especially for women. So, and honestly, now I know my God-given like real reason for being on the planet is helping women create wealth. I just happen to do it in the category I'm in. But when I sit back and I look at the last 20 years of building businesses, it hasn't really been about the business as much as it has been about bringing women into our company, giving them an opportunity. I had my 3 children, nursed every one of those babies for 6 months. At the conference room table, continue to have my meetings. I took 2 weeks off.
Wow.
And I would be back because I don't think we have to choose between making money and raising children. And I'm going to China next month to the Guangzhou show. I'm taking my 15-year-old out of 9th grade. I called the school. I said he's going to be with me 10 days. I have him taking notes. He's going to be on the trade show floor.
Love it.
And he's going to be learning what it takes to bring that momentum, that mojo to your life. And I think in 9th grade, he's going to learn more being on a trade show floor, learning how I negotiate with vendors to carry terms so that I don't have to put cash out so I can afford to grow my business. And these are the things that really matter to creating profit.
Yeah.
Is delayed terms, 120 days. That sounds impossible. It's not. So, yeah. I'm a huge fan of women and men.
I mean, I think to the point, Amanda, isn't that one of your kind of guiding wellness principles that money is there?
Yeah, the new platform that I'm building, I started it with the 4 M's and then I added the 5th. So mental well-being, menstruation, motherhood, menopause, and money. And money is so linked to our well-being, and I think it's being left out wellness, which is a disservice to us, for a myriad of reasons. And I love that you talk about it. It's crazy, like building a company, doing all the things that we're doing, and I realized I would leave the office or leave the boardroom and go to my friends and talk brashly about certain things, and like people would get red and be like, well, you know, like get all shy, and I'm like, what are we actually doing here? I think with women in particular, I don't know if we've had the same confidence to talk about money, to talk to our friends, like how much did you ask for in terms of your equity, or you know, how do you negotiate more pay, or you know, we don't have these open dialogue conversations, and I'm not sure why. I think it is really stuck to shame. It's really stuck to, you know, just being happy of being in the room and not kind of, you know, moving in a way that feels, you know, off-putting. But what's so interesting, men help each other. They talk about it very openly. People that you even think are on opposite sides of the aisle are helping each other. And so I really am passionate about talking about the thing that we don't talk about those things. And I think there's a power in historical knowledge, like passing information down, whether it's our health, because every time one of my friends gets pregnant, it's like the first woman to ever get pregnant. They're like, I didn't know this would happen. I didn't know that would happen. And I'm like, this is wild. What is happening? And I think that theme kind of spreads to everything around us, especially money. And with the wealth transfer that's happening, I'll get off my soapbox in a second, but with the huge wealth transfer that's happening, more money, trillions of dollars are going into the hands of women. And we need to be armed. Yay! But we need to know what to do with that money. We need to know how to deploy capital. We need to understand how systems work, or, you know, that could sift away really easily. So I am all for talking, learning, building, integrating money into everything that I do.
I'm going to jump on this soapbox too, because I'm just as passionate as these two women about it. There are programs out there to also help, and I did one in particular that I will tout till, you know, the cows come home, called Dream Ventures. And I did that program because I did not know how to raise money, and I did not even know where to start raising money. And I didn't know how much of my company I needed to give away. And I knew I wanted to hold on to as much as possible. And there is information out there. It was all women. We shared openly. And then when it was time to raise, Janie is one of my investors. We managed to raise everything in 2 weeks from beginning to end. And it was all within our own network and community. But I listened to a podcast today, which I found really fascinating. So Emma Greed is also a client of mine. And you can imagine what those hair sessions are like. I literally, she sits down and I'm like, I have my questions ready. I'm like, let's go. And today I was listening to her podcast, and this gentleman that she was talking to, Simon Sinek, was talking about vulnerability and letting people see you be vulnerable and allowing them to help you. And so when we were raising money, you have to move through the discomfort. I am like the shyest human being. I promise you guys. I hate public speaking. I hate small talk. I literally did the wrong career. I like meditate every morning before I start. But when you allow people to help, and when you allow yourself to share how vulnerable it is, to tell people what you actually need, it each time just becomes easier and easier. And when people were given that gift to help us raise our round, it was like the floodgates opened. So you have to allow yourself to just burst through that wall and talk about it. So Dream Ventures, I know these women well. I have no skin in the game with them. It changed my life.
Brilliant, what a great tip. Thank you.
That's
How are we
so
doing
awesome.
for time? Can I do
I didn't even know
a couple
that.
more? I've got so many more questions, but I want to open it up to the floor. Everyone good? I mean, one of the things I just want to talk about is actually at Ancient and Brave, there's this thing with this amazing group of Welsh women. They're all over 50. They can barely swim, and they've set themselves a challenge of, in 2027, they're going to swim the English Channel. So they're going to go from England to France. They're going to do it in a relay, but they're going to go for it. I mean, God help them. I mean, you have to check them out on our Instagram, because the story is so sweet and so beautiful. But what it is mostly is it's really inspiring. And so as Ancient and Brave, we've launched a project we're calling The Endeavour. And we're encouraging there's a kind of a competition that we're running, and you can be an individual or you can be a group, and you can come forward and say, what is the thing that you've always wanted to do? And it just has to be a stretch for you. It doesn't have to be an enormous stretch for the world, but just for yourself. So I'm just pitching this back to the panel. If there was one thing that was always a kind of burning ambition that maybe you've already managed to achieve or you want to get to in the next few years, can you think what that might be? Is there something that you've always wanted to do?
Business or personal?
I think it's more personal. I think it's more of a kind of, well, I suppose it could be either, but I think it's more of a kind of ambition that you've had outside of work, potentially.
I love this. So every year I do one thing that scares me.
Nice.
And I really think about it because, to your point, when you practice anything, you become so much better at it. So what you always think in your brain is like, this is the scariest thing. And then you practice and you practice and you practice. And then all of a sudden you integrate it into who you are. It's like your future self just becomes you. And then you walk in that new purpose. So I'm a big believer in doing things that scare me, because I think that as an entrepreneur, I feel like women who are entrepreneurs are motivated by either deep, deep passion for delivery, or they have been raised or have come from a fear-based background. And so we run hot. Yeah. And I can tell you for me, my childhood, I learned really quickly at an early age that if I didn't financially find myself getting out of my childhood, I would probably end up in the same spot. So I was very driven to do all the things that I thought I needed to do to create wealth for myself. And so this year around fear, I'm doing a TED Talk, which I wrote. And you guys, I am watching so many TED Talks, and every time I watch one, I'm like, oh God.
You're gonna be brilliant.
And the day just keeps creeping up. But last year I went to a surf resort, and Janie was there, and we learned how to surf. Mm-hmm. And I always think we're in the shark's house, so why are we in the shark's house with a suit on that looks like a seal? And I'm on this like board floating around like a yummy hors d'oeuvre. And I was out there with this guy, and I learned how to surf. So that was like last year, and I stood up, and I was like, okay, now we're done. Check. This year is the TED Talk.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Katie?
Like anytime.
Great.
I mean, I'm kind of working on my next chapter because I see it so clearly, and I am trying to. I love what I'm doing, and I love these products. I believe in them, but I do think that I have another chapter that's going to be distinctly different coming up. So I want to be like a senior tennis tour player. Janie knows this. When I'm on vacation, I literally play maniacally every single day. You know this.
Yes.
I don't miss one session. And I want to be a writer. Yeah, and I'm already working on that.
Brilliant.
I mean, that actually piggybacks on mine. The thing that scares me, and that I've been, I guess not scares me, but the thing that I know, the big stretch that I want to do, a couple things. One is write the book. I think writing a book is so exposing and intimate, and you're like pouring your soul out and just like giving it to the world. So that is really exciting. I've lived many, many lives. And I think the other thing I want to do is really dive into, women can have it all. Kind of juggling family, babies with all the new ventures that I'm doing. So
I love that.
Yeah.
Thank you. And I think just on that one point, I think one of the things that I was listening to, it might be Emma's podcast, I'm not really sure, but I think it was around actually let's not talk about balance anymore, let's talk about blending our lives, which I loved. I thought that was kind of letting me off the hook a bit. How can I blend my life more? Because I'm never going to get balance.
Never.
So,
Never. Doesn't exist.
Thank you, panel, so much. That was so brilliant. So just really opening it up for the floor. If you've got any specific questions, please feel direct at any one of these amazing women. Anyone want to go first? I can hand over the mic.
I can go.
Great. Here we go. I'll pass it on.
Hi, I'm Tanya. You guys are awesome. So good. We were actually just having a conversation a bit earlier about just like self-doubt and imposter syndrome, especially early in the journey. I feel like a lot of women really struggle with it. It feels like more than men. Maybe that's not true. I don't have the sites to back that up. But so I would just love to hear how you guys have all done amazing in your paths, so like how you guys overcame that in the early part of your career. And is it something you still struggle with? Yes.
So this human thing that we're all doing, this journey, is effed up in so many ways. And so I would say to you, there's a belief that somehow, and I'll tell you for myself, once I hit a certain threshold in revenue, then I would be successful. When I hit a certain number of employees, then I would be successful. When I was accepted to a certain professional group and YPO says you can come in and be part of this, now I feel successful. Every single day I question where I'm spending my time, and as you get older you start to look at the things that you haven't fulfilled. For me, faith is a very important part of my every single day life. I spend 2 to 3 hours in my faith is more important to me now than anything else because I gave it up for so long in the pursuit of money. I thought I would be happier once I generated, it was 10 million or 30 million or 50 million or whatever the number was. And every time I blow past these goals, I would wake up and I would feel more alone and more questioning about whether I was even supposed to be here. Like a lot of dark moments. So I share that with you because I think it's important to remember that there's no such thing as making it. There's no there. And so I always think, oh, when I meet the man I'm gonna fall in love with and have a life, and then I have a partner and I'm in a marriage or I have a relationship, then I'm gonna be whole. And all I can tell you is my journey back to myself, my journey back to my faith, my journey in every day in reverence to the life I get to live, to the children I get to raise, to the people I get to be in friendship with and community with. I prioritize my connection to Source because we're all imposters, all of us. Even if someone doesn't think so, then they retract and say, you know what, I don't know. Maybe I don't know what I'm doing. So I just think that's why I think the group, this community that you're building is so key to your connection to others, because it's in those moments where you can share so openly about feeling that way. And people go, girl, get out there. Get out in front of that live stream and tell your founder story.
Yeah. That would be an emotional stretch. Katie.
I'll say that I'm way closer to 50 now than I am to 40, and it doesn't get any easier, but you do get much more boundaried and clear about how you spend your time and who you spend it with. I really only spend my time with other women who make sure to lift me up. I really love time alone. It's gonna become your best friend. You've gotta find time to drown out the noise, if you will, especially if you're dealing with like the public, like I deal with, like all day long, it's just people coming at me left and right. And you have to find that time to just hear your own thoughts. Listen, I am in the beauty industry. I'm a hair colorist that does blonde hair who's a Black woman. There's nobody that looks like me doing what I do. I had to get over it real fast. And imposter syndrome, I wouldn't say really entered the chat, but it was mostly drowning out everybody else's thoughts about it because I knew what my skills were. So you have to really just come back to self and just like, I don't know, it's a lot of hyping yourself up every single day.
I mean, they covered it. I don't have much to add, but I'm like, yes, preach. I think with, imposter syndrome, it's really interesting to me. My real advice is ground and go back to your why every single day. If you ground yourself in your why, yes, the voices will come and the things will happen, but if not you, then who? I think.
Why not you?
Exactly. Why not you? Like, I think we discount our individual gifts. We discount what makes us us. We discount our unique vision on a problem that we're solving. We discount that. And the thing that I learned way too late was that, as you so eloquently said, it's in the journey. The journey is it.
Yeah.
That is it.
And it goes so fast.
I mean, the accolades and the things, like you'll blow past milestones, you'll do this, you'll get this account, you'll raise this money, and then you're just like, but you still keep going because it's about the journey. And so every little win you get, you pause and celebrate that. Every little yes you get, you pause and celebrate that. And it'll just be the engine that keeps you going and keeps you grounded in your why.
Amazing. Just on that point, I just want to add that that I had someone smarter than me said it's not imposter syndrome, it's an imposter phenomenon. And if we can kind of get our heads around that, like it's not that we can't do it, it's just that we haven't done it before. And I think if you start to see all the ceilings as women that we're breaking, like we are phenomenal, right? And I think that's just a slight shift. I mean, it doesn't come easy, and you have to tell yourself that and build yourself up. But I think if we can just shift the perception on that, then there's just no stopping us, right?
Totally.
Any more questions from the floor? Right.
Thank you so much. It's amazing. Covered everything. I have nothing else to ask. My head's like, oh, that's good. Yeah, that's answered that one. I've got that. Thank you. I've got that all in there. I just wanted to ask when you were talking about QVC, because I'm a big fan of QVC, and just because it's a chance to talk about what you're doing, and sometimes it's a little bit hard for people to understand in like 2 minutes what you're trying to do, what the message is, and how important the message is. And obviously the products have to be amazing, it has to do what it says, the message has to be clear, but you still want the time, don't you, to be able to sit and talk to people about the brand. Do you think that, because I get told a lot that you have to stick to one, decide what platform you want to be. So decide, do you want to do a direct to consumer? Decide, would you like to be on QVC, or TikTok sales, or Instagram? Do you think it's really important that you have to stay completely focused in the beginning on what platform or what demographic that you want to sell your product to? If it's something that anybody could use, say a teenager could use it, your mum could use it, your grandma could use it, your husband could use it. So it's kind of hard to figure out. And then obviously it's who you meet along the way. It kind of all flows. I've been doing this as well now for a little while. But it just gets confusing because you might then meet someone and it takes you completely off course. So do you think it's just important
What
that you
category are you in? What kind of product?
Hair.
Hair, like liquids? Liquid?
Hair products, masks, hair oils, and it's all meditation, it's all paired with self-care and just taking the time to look after yourself really in those moments, especially being a busy mum, which I am, all of it. So it's just that the moments and the messages for me is taking those moments in the mundane, but to really understand that 3 minutes meditation or 3 minutes repeating an affirmation is very fundamental. It's changed my life. I'm a little bit like you, like over the years, meditation for me has changed everything. So I have to prioritize that every day, but some people don't even understand what that means. Like, what is meditation? So for me, it's a lot more than just the product.
Yeah.
But it's just, there's so many places you can sell now, especially when it's online. But do you think that if it was QVC that I particularly want to sell on, and I'm getting closer to that, but do you think it's important that you just stick to that and you work on that, or you can incorporate TikTok or Instagram sales or Amazon or things like that?
So like I said, my real passion is helping women make a lot of money. Like, I just so happen to do it through these different businesses. In the last 24 months, I've done 27 million in live stream selling across multiple platforms. I'm a very big believer in live stream selling. I think it's the most important thing you could be doing. I started an accelerator about a month ago for women to come in and learn how to live stream sell, because I'm so passionate. You can be a service provider, you can have a product line, you can be a dentist, you can be an esthetician, you can be a therapist, you could be, and literally, in my opinion, if you are not using live stream selling 3 to 4 hours every single day to build your community and your relationship to your followers and telling them about your personal story as to why you do what you do, then when you go to sell, my conversion rate's 50% on a live stream sell versus maybe 2% through my meta ads, right? And meta is constantly changing the algorithm, and so frustrating. So in your case, I would highly recommend, I am really excited about YouTube, because YouTube's going to be turning this, their business into live stream selling. So you're killing two birds with one stone, with Google owning YouTube and YouTube using SEO to rank at the highest for free. So every time you do a YouTube video, you're ranking your SEO at the top, and then you're going to be able to transact on the platform. But I think TikTok is one of the biggest zeitgeist opportunities on the planet right now. And a year ago we were doing zilch, and now we have $500,000 days. And it's about, it is a opportunity because they will boost you for just putting the time in. And so there's right now, the way Instagram used to be, where if you had 300,000 followers, you're getting 300,000 eyeballs, and now you're only getting 30,000 or less, unless you pay them for the privilege of boosting your brand. TikTok will reward you just for being interesting. And so every day is a viral opportunity, and being more authentic. I do better when we have no makeup with an old terry cloth robe, with an old shower curtain behind you, looking like it's a rick-rack situation.
Not a rick-rack, girl.
And I can sell, several $100,000 with a no-name, no one out of New Jersey who, raises her kids from home and is authentically talking about herself and the product. So QVC is, I also would tell you that the downside to retail is they pay you net 30, net 60, net 90, net 120. And if you collect at all, it depends on how you're set up with them. Whereas if you're live streaming, you're getting your money every 72 hours. And so it is a cash flow machine. And so for your demographic, Instagram Live and Facebook Live would be probably the place I would go. I do huge business on Facebook and Instagram Live. And that sounds weird because you do have to leave the platform to actually transact, but we can link things and tag right to a checkout. So I build tons of landing pages. I'm a landing page, like every day I have a new landing page, a new offer, because I'll take people off my live and drop them right into my landing page and transact. So
What do you mean by that?
I can walk you through it, but we build offer pages and landing pages for first-time viewers that are not indexed. And I give first-time viewers new offers that they can't get when they look at it. So I hide my offer, and I that's how I bring my top of funnel in. and then I convert them on subscription. But this is where I think this is why I'm so passionate about it, because I think this is the biggest money-making opportunity. People are thinking, I used to do business with retail, and I love retail. I love Walmart, I love Costco and Sam's and all those folks, and these folks are like the most important people when you get to that stage. But if you're self-funding yourself, live stream selling is the way. And that's why I'm so excited to launch you on your live stream selling.
If anyone knows me, I don't even have an Instagram account. So this would be such an emotional reach, but I love what you're saying.
now.
Any other questions?
Can I ask a couple questions about the live, just while we're on that topic?
Sure. And we'll come
I
back.
have so many questions, so I'll just try to limit it to like 2. So my first question is, how do your major retailers respond to your live business? Like, how do they feel about you building such a robust live business?
They don't know how robust it is. And I don't hide it, but I also don't, I think that where Mary Kay used to go door to door, that's right now. Yeah. I'm telling you. Yeah. We have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of affiliates. We have women who are friends of women who are like, I want to earn money. And so we talk them through. I bring people in, I train them how to live stream. I train them how to do it from home. These are friends of friends of friends. I set them up with affiliate codes. I send them free product. I talk to them about their kids, their parents, their weight loss journey. Like, we don't just sell product. We're selling a whole lifestyle. We're selling a whole community. We're selling your ability to travel anywhere in the world and make money.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then I guess that's my second question. Is all the selling happening through a network of affiliates on all of these different channels? Or are you selling yourself? And are you personally managing this network of affiliates, or are you going through an agency to do that?
I built an agency because I know how I want it done. I don't call them affiliates. They're called lab foxes. Okay. They come into the lab with me. They're hot. They're like amazing women who want to participate in product development and be part of the program of like test and learn and, you know, being part of a private community in which we co-create product together. Nice. Yeah.
What's the end game?
I don't know. I'm building a company, hopefully, where all these people make money and they all love what they do, right? But this is the point in my life now where I do it for the connection, I love watching them make money, and I love the community that we're building with all these women connecting with each other. But I used to think, I want to build this company to sell it, but I don't think that way anymore. So I don't have, I wake up every day like excited to solve more problems and come up with more product that they can sell, and then they make money.
Great.
Yeah, it's fun. It's, yeah.
Would you like to ask?
Yeah. No, please. That's okay. Anybody else? Thanks. Hi, ladies. It's been so lovely to listen to all of you this evening, and you know, hear from female founders that are very value-based. And you know, I know you have the vision, but I just wonder if each of you have a specific philosophy of building the team that helps you create that success. Because I don't have the vision, but I'm like a great asset to a founder when I have the value with them. So I just wonder what your philosophies are of building your team.
That's a great question. I think people underestimate how important their team is. Mm-hmm. Those are the people that are literally extensions of you and what you're building. I think I'm a very heart-led person, and you know, it takes I'm like just enough woo-woo, just enough. But I, like, for example, for me, it's really important to connect with people. Even in the interview process, I will ask people what their management style is. and what they kind of gravitate towards, because some people are very independent. Some people like to have like constant instruction. Some people really kind of have aversions to being no one wants to micromanage anybody, but you know what I mean? Like I'm really, like Katie talked about earlier, like my listening skills when I'm interviewing, and by the time they get to me, is really, really keen. And I won't get into the interview process because, especially depending on the role, like I'll have them do projects. I'll really take the time to make sure that they're a culture fit and not just like, you know, a resume fit. The second thing I do is really understanding that people are human. I think a lot of the time people want them to shut off and become robots when they walk through the door at the office. But people have lives, they have spouses, they have kids, they have aging parents, they have pets, they have whatever it is that they have going on in their lives. And usually at the beginning of the week, I really have like 10 to 20 minutes, sometimes it gets a little out of hand, to kind of talk about what everybody did on the weekend, like with their kind of the leads. So people can actually get some type of connection. And I always talk about going under the iceberg. If you know that analogy, icebergs have a little peak on top, but there's like miles underneath the water. And a lot of the times we don't even know if our colleagues have kids or if, you know, they have parents that they're taking care of or anything like that. So my philosophy is really get to know the human and then also show a little bit of vulnerability. I think people really gravitate towards when they see that the person that they're working for is human. And if things go left or if things go wrong, let them know that. And then if things go right, also let them know that. I think praise goes a long way. I read an article recently that said, you know, if someone has a bad superior, they will then decline in terms of their performance. And even when that person is removed, their performance doesn't come back up until a very long time after that. So psychologically, just being very cognizant of your energy, the way you talk to people, the way you cultivate your team, I think is really important.
Yeah, gotcha. I just want to add to that. I love that. Thank you. But just in terms of continuing to come back to like what the culture of your company is, we actually grew from, I mean, I was very much me, kitchen table for 18 months. And then at the end of like beginning of 23, I had like 10 members. And over the last 3 years, we've now like 170, 180 people. But I think one of the biggest factors of our success is continuing to kind of try and maintain the culture. And we haven't always got it right. We keep having to come pull it back. But secondly, 85% of my team is women. And, you know, and I think that's massively, dramatically added to our success. Sorry, Richard. So, you know, work with women, work with healing. And yeah, so that's it for me.
Yeah.
Do you want to think about team culture?
Well, I think one of my proudest moments is that everyone who opened my brick and mortar 6 years ago is still there with us today.
Wow.
And our team is like famous for being really rad. And honestly, I also hire a lot of women and I hire a lot of immigrants and I hire a lot of minorities. And I hire people who need a chance. And I think that giving people something to work towards goes a long way. We have check-ins all the time with our team, but we also have major like milestones for them to hit. So everyone knows what they're working towards all the time. It's not fair otherwise to have people working towards some blind goal that's only serving yourself. So yeah, and we involve them in as many decisions as we can that don't affect the bottom line, but anything that we're doing that's a fun group activity or event or whatever. Amanda and Janie have been to many of ours and they're just renowned as super fun, and it's all because of the team. It's not because of us.
Nice. I want to go.
Yeah, please.
Any other questions from the floor?
Hi, thank you guys so much. It was like an amazing conversation. My name is Shadera Abbot. I wanted to touch on building a personal brand. I feel like right now we're in this era of the creator, founder, being an influencer, building in public, showing your face from the start. And I'm kind of like you, I barely post on Instagram, but I feel this pressure to be visible on LinkedIn, on, you know, all the social channels. And it's kind of hard. It's hard to, you know, I'd rather see behind my own product marketing and just say, you know, I'd rather focus on that and not show myself. But I know that it's proven to help grow a business. So how do you kind of let go of any kind of ideas of, oh, people are watching me online, what, you know, they could say all these things, yada, 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 and just be authentic on social media and show yourself?
I mean, I'll start and then I'll quickly pass it on. I don't think there's one way to do anything. And we have founder friends that are not forward facing on their brands. They're at all. Like, you would not know what they look like. Do not feel that pressure. I know it's really hard in this day and age. I don't have a personal Instagram. I have my business. I will pop up on there. Everyone does know who I am on that, you know, in that realm, but they don't need to know more than I'm willing to share. And I think that things are changing. Yes, there is this kind of throwback to, and the word authentic drives all of us nuts. It should, because what is that? Like, does the shower curtain make it authentic? I'm not really sure, you know, it really, you know, but like, I think that this performative culture that we're all now sucked into can be mentally very draining, and it could be damaging. You have to know your limits. Do not feel like you have to do it one way. Get a team around you, someone that maybe enjoys that part of it. You know, use your strength in different ways. But I know that I've never felt the pressure to do anything I wasn't ready to do myself.
I think you covered it.
Okay.
And at the same time, I would ask yourself what your biggest fear is. What is holding you back? Because I am hearing you say, I think I'm hearing you say, I'm my brand and I are connected. Is there a story to be told about that that's serving you and your brand, or do you feel like that's not the case? You know, the entire universe of, and the word creator and influencer, I think, is such a misnomer, because as I used to build brands with celebrity talent, I would shy away from doing that today, only because I've lived the life of having a celebrity talent wake up one day and decide they don't want to do it anymore and they want to go do something else.
Yeah.
Right? And that's very, very painful. As a business owner, you're like, wait, I thought we were doing this, and it just went off the deep end. But I do think as an entrepreneur, founder, you have a very important story to tell, and people want to hear it. Even when you get on and you say, hey, I'm super shy. Like, this is so uncomfortable for me. I'm doing this now, and yet I want to share with you why I decided to start this brand and why I'm doing this today and what what I'm solving for. People have, you would be surprised at the level of compassion and engagement. And yes, you're going to have assholes, like people do. Even when you're super successful, you have assholes that want to see you fail. When you fail, they are assholes that want to see you, you know, like, they're just people. But I would just say, ask yourself what is holding you back from being that, in that place, because maybe authentically you want to do that. You just haven't practiced the muscle. It takes muscle memory, practice. Yeah.
Oh,
I got it.
good.
Practice the muscle. I tried. Hi, I'm Bina. I've had my company for a little over 20 years, and I did corporate work before that. Everything was great. COVID came and went, and it was okay. And then all of the social media stuff just kind of went crazy. I've never had to market my company, like, ever. I don't have a product. I have a service. Technically, it is a one-woman show, but I've got a whole crew of people behind me that make it happen, right? So I'm in the event industry, and that's what I do, put together events and things like that for different companies. I'm just finding it extremely, extremely hard to, I mean, there's a new event planner around the corner like every 5 seconds. Someone's like, I can do this, I can plan it. And that's great. I feel like I've outgrown the small things, right? And not that I've done small things only, but I think I've outgrown that level of person to say, hey, this is what I can do for you. Let's talk. How do you get past that? How do you get past that barrier to the next person that, for lack of a better term, has more IQ or EQ on
EQ.
what that looks like, right? And it's not the person that's like, oh, well, let me make sure my boss says yes to this. It's, yes, I am the one that's going to say yes to this, and this is what we need to do for our company. Your company is the one to do it for us. Let's do this. I'm kind of drowning. I am drowning. I'll say it.
That you're like,
I'm drowning.
I have a dear friend who's an event planner. So I've gone through we've gone through the ups and downs with her, especially, and her business did change dramatically after COVID.
Yeah.
I don't think it's about you marketing your company per se, but you maybe have to spend more time making some connections with people in your industry and like fellow, listen, and the networking thing, I could take it or leave it, but I have to tell you my lifeline are women like Amanda and women who are in the industry and, you know, and the Bennies and the Janies and or whatever. Even sometimes we're actually competing for the same customer. It does not matter. You'll rise with the tide.
Yeah.
And then you'll meet people on that level. So I think it's about like forcing yourself to like get out of that comfort zone. Even something like this for me is wildly uncomfortable, but like I'm making myself do it, you know, I hype myself on the way out of my house tonight, you know, like it's so hard, but you're gonna do it because something beautiful always comes from it. So the next time you get an invitation, do not turn it down. Show up. You don't know who you can meet, you know. Are you Jamaican? Yeah, I'm Jamaican. And then literally she's like my friend, you know what I mean? Like, so you just have to, I think you need to like meet more like-minded women.
That's what I came today.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Is there any more?
Ooh, I'm talked out, child.
Thank you so much for all coming. Thank you,